Okay, now.
There we are.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
I'm kind of bad light.
The system works.
Huh?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I do have bad light here.
No, mine is like from the window right here. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
No. That's better. Maybe.
No, you're good.
If I turn this on?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, I've got tinfoil wrapped around me so that I can. I'm not all dark.
Clean my glasses off. I think. There. Okay, that's probably better from both sides, or reflections.
Yeah. Hang on.
Well,
I know it's difficult.
yeah, lighting.
I'm just saying that it's all going. So, and then I'll
Let me see.
switch.
I'm farther away.
Okay, it looks like we're being seen. So we've got our first comment from Kevin. So he said happy birthday. So that's very nice of him. Now. Can you see us, Kevin? Mine's still trying to load, so I'm not sure if we're completely live on the page or not, but I'm assuming we must be. But I don't want to use all our oh yeah, we're good. So thank you for coming on at such short notice, Judy, and being here for my launch today.
Happy birthday to you.
Oops, stepping out of your sound. Sorry?
Huh? Did I get too far away?
I can't hear you.
No?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Perfect.
Yeah, just too much light.
At least it's not stormy there now.
It was, and now the storm is gone.
So thanks
it's
for
all
joining. Yeah. Now, can you see the comments when they come through, Judy? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have it open on the side.
Okay, fantastic. So thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm relaunching Dreamlifeofmine, 50 plus and fabulous. So it's all about a bit interesting. I'm interviewing 3 friends of mine today that are all living their dream lives actually they're all in Italy, and I will be creating a program of regular live interviews with people that are living their dream life and hopefully encouraging other people to do the same. So welcome first of all to Judy. You've been in Europe since what, about 1984 or?
Oh gosh, yeah. In I think September of 1984, I came and I spent a month in France, and I came in October to Italy, to Florence, to study Italian for a month. And here I am.
when you left, I mean, I know I read that you bought a one-way ticket, but did you was that because you didn't know how long you would spend, or because you just thought, no, I'm doing this, I'm not coming back?
Well, I knew I quit my job and I sublet my apartment, and I basically knew I was coming for 2 months.
Yeah.
But I was kind of looking for an opportunity. I was a pastry chef in America, and I was looking for an opportunity to maybe do an apprenticeship or learn more. I was thinking probably in France, because I had been to France like 5 times. My grandfather was French. I was a basically French trained pastry chef. I studied French for 14 years, grammar school and everything. And I kind of thought that would be the natural place for me to be was France. I had never been to Italy. I didn't really like Italian food or have any desire. It's like they were screaming and yelling all the time, and there were these huge, big portions of food. And I'm just noticing myself talking with my hands. And I do remember when I was in 5th grade, my mother had the teacher come to my house because it wasn't ladylike to speak with your hands. And I remember being taught to sit on my hands while I was talking, and I couldn't talk without using my hands. So maybe it was predestination.
Yeah, definitely. I think actually when I first came to Europe, I was a Francophile, so ending up in Italy for me was a bit of a surprise, but we never know.
I think most of us, France was kind of more open. The art and the music and the lifestyle was so heavily promoted as the cultural, whereas I think the people I knew were like Italian Americans, and all we ever heard about was like the food, until I started studying art history. And when I got in college, and then I did learn about all the fabulous artists and everything in Italy, but we would go to museums. But I didn't really hear about anybody moving to Italy, whereas I had friends who had lived in France, and I'd gone like 5 times to France before I ever came to Italy.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And how have you found I know I was a bit nervous having you on, but I was also very, what should we say? Very relaxed about it too, because I know you do a lot of lives through Instagram and on Facebook with your page, Divina.
Yeah, but you never know if they're going to work. Living in the middle of nowhere. I live halfway between Florence and Siena, but in the middle of olive groves, and just a couple of years ago got like what I call a decent connection. But even when I sometimes was doing Facebook Lives for cooking demonstrations, I would just keep going because I had the camera, the phone kind of far away from me, and thinking it was on all the time, but sometimes it would be cutting off, because even now with the COVID virus, when that first started and all the people were starting to do the working from home, the computer company wrote to everyone and said, this is going to be a huge pull on the computer service. If you don't have to be online all the time, please don't, because there's people that are going to have to be working online. So definitely, that's one of the reasons too, that I wasn't doing a daily cooking classes like a lot of people were doing. Cooking demos or going online every day. And I just figured there's people that really are working, so I didn't do that.
No. Cool. So normally at this time of year, you'd be quite busy. Tell everybody what you actually do and what you're doing now instead.
Okay. Well, when I my first jobs here too, I had when I finally got a work permit, which took me about 3 years, I started teaching cooking classes to the American college kids that were on the study abroad program. And I was working with the University of Syracuse, who would one of the first programs that was in Florence, on the older programs. And they would come to me once a week and we do a survival cooking class. So I did that for about 10 years, and then internet started. So I opened a website and started doing day classes. I had a space right in front of the Central Market in Florence. So I started teaching Marketeur day cooking classes, and then did that for about 10 years. And then I decided to move to, our house was ready in the countryside. So I decided to move out to the countryside, and I rented a space in the countryside. I've never taught from my home. I always rented a space to teach from. And basically the season is from Easter through like October and November. So basically stopped working in November, and I was going to start again in March. And like everybody else, I found myself at home. And I had years ago gone to a culinary conference and seen a woman who was, was a cancer survivor. And she believed that you could basically help yourself avoid re-getting cancer, or not feeding your cancer by the way you cooked and the foods that you ate. So every day at lunch, she would just turn on her telephone camera and filmed herself cooking basically one recipe at lunchtime, and built a huge following, which was really nice. I thought, well, that's kind of, I could do that. That'd be fun. And so I practiced in 2017 doing Facebook Live cooking classes. And basically they'd be like an hour, because that's how long it takes you to cook something. Yeah. So then I heard about Patreon, which is a platform where patrons can support, usually with artists, or it's turned now to people publishing books, and what else do I see? And cooking classes, funny people doing funny things and very advanced things. And so I signed up for that in 2017, thinking I would move from the Facebook platform to that, where for like the price of coffee, someone could support you. And if they couldn't come to Italy or something, you could do cooking classes. So that'd be great. So as soon as I found out that this virus was real, I started doing the Patreon site. So that worked out. So it's kind of giving me, something to do, so you could program.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's sort of,
you find your,
the buzzword at the moment is pivoting, and I think that's a terrible term, but I think
it's true. You keep your foot in one place and then you move around, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because, but another thing, I would go to these culinary associations every year for a convention, and there's always some fabulous, famous person there, and they speak to you, and words stick. And I remember one woman was telling me once, because usually teaching cooking, most women who teach cooking have like a wealthy husband or something. So you don't really need to support a family, because you've got your beautiful house and you've got your beautiful kitchen, and you can travel and teach and write a book. But the reality is that it's not really financially stable in any way for a lot of us, So I support my husband and I do it on seasonal work. He was a cab driver in Florence, and he sold his cab license, and we bought this tiny little house to restore, which ended up being the nightmare of our life. We were almost finished. The building police came and blocked the work for 8 years. Took 8 years of paperwork. It was also a very time in Italy. It's when Craxi had been exposed for the corrupt government, and he fled the country, and they were all of a sudden they got really tight with everything. So we just got caught in that. But this one woman had told me, whatever you do, you should be able to make money off of it 3 ways. And I think this is something that goes with whatever you do. Like you write, so you could, write small articles, you can write books, you can write for a magazine. The knowledge that you get can be sold three ways. You have to sell it three ways to make money. So when I travel to different parts of Italy, I gather information.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing places. So if I wanted to, I could like write for a travel magazine or a culinary magazine. I could write on hotels and restaurants, museums, because I'm a tourist and I'm going to places that I would want to see. I eat things, I do restaurant guides. And then I always try to pick up some cookbooks or take a class wherever I'm going, take a tour with someone that lives there, connect with somebody, and not just from my eyes, but from locals, which I think is really important. And then I could travel and teach with those recipes. And I could, that's three different things. I could write for three different kinds of articles or something, or teach classes. So I think that's pivoting in that way, is that you have to wear many hats, I think, when you live in Italy, because if you just do one thing, that's very limited, especially when you work for yourself.
Yeah. And the pandemic comes along.
Oh God, I'm not scared. We've gone out and people were wearing their masks. I think Italy got real serious really fast.
Yeah.
And they did a good job of it. But I still can imagine, like, it was really bad in the north. And I think still you see a lot of people not taking it really seriously.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly like kids too. They want to go out and party and have a beer and get back to life as soon as possible. So I think we can all expect like some sort of a peak to come afterwards.
Yeah. It's interesting. There's quite a few. I was going to say there's quite a few regions in Italy where they've had a number of days without any new cases, whereas
Exactly.
the Milan area is still having quite a few, 100 or 200 case days.
Yeah, and that was the area where it kind of started. And then when it spread to the other areas, a lot of that was based on those people from Milan going to their vacation homes and leaving Milano. Do you remember that? The train station at midnight. I don't know why they allowed that. And a lot of them had, homes at the sea coasts and stuff like that. But I think both Sicily and Sardinia have either zero cases or very small. And so it's hopeful.
Yeah, exactly.
But, when I'm not sure exactly, the first American family who were actually expats living in Rome came back and they were all infected. But somehow they got on a flight from Chicago to Germany, to Munich, and Munich to Rome, and got to Rome. And I guess they were going to have to be quarantined because they were coming from America anyway. So they must have gotten tested here then when they arrived. That was a real test. And they were all positive.
Yeah, I think that's just appalling and so irresponsible. I've been here nearly 100 days in Austria because I was too scared I didn't want to get stuck in Italy because I had other things on. And I thought, I'll be here for 6 weeks. I've been here 100 days. It's like, who would have
So
thought?
were you on vacation in Austria or were you working?
No, I just came here to my friend's place because it was empty. So I've just been here purely on COVIDication.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
But the weather here has been horrific.
Pardon?
The weather has been horrific.
Yeah, we finally went out and bought some plants for the garden. The shops were opening, and so we went out and bought some plants, and they were flooded away. And then some other ones, I bought 4 cayenne pepper plants, and And I came out one day and 2 of them had been like destroyed immediately. And now I'm down to one little plant. They're just, it's, you know, you turn around, it's thunder and lightning and storming. And then it was like beautiful weather. So everything's like growing again. So, but we'll see. I don't think Americans are going to be traveling this summer here. I just can't imagine that.
No. Time will tell.
I keep seeing people saying, "Oh yeah, we're gonna, we've got tickets for July," and I'm like, they don't have it under control yet, you know.
No.
So you're in Austria. Is the border open to Italy?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Not till later, right?
And even though Austria has opened their borders, a lot of countries they're still closed to Austria, so it's one-way traffic. So
yeah.
But so going forward, after the summer and everything, where can people maybe support you or to see more of Judy and her dream life?
Well, I'm doing, basically I'm doing the Patreon once a week cooking classes that are, I found to me was the best because I pre-record them and edit them. So what's taking an hour to cook, it's down to 15 minutes. I'm doing a PDF printable recipe. And then when you sign up for this, you get access to all the past recipes too. So it's been I started maybe March 22nd.
Yeah.
So a recipe has been going then, and it's €5 a month. So I've had requests already for live classes, which I'm gonna start doing. I just ordered a bigger lamp for my kitchen because stone houses are kind of dark. So now I'm kind of like blinded by the light sitting by the window here. But in my kitchen, to have a good light, I could actually do a live class. I'm kind of probably need to do part of it, move it to another room and do demo for part of it. But live classes are more expensive. It has to be the right time. So that limits when you could teach. So I found the Patreon site. So on my website, which is divinacucina.com, I opened up a membership. And so on the membership, if someone just kind of wants to pay a flat fee, once a week, I send them the video and I send them the PDF, which is selling something twice, right? And then the Patreon is just on the Patreon site for other people who it's like €3 for a month is just the PDFs, and €5 a month is you could get access to the videos and to the PDFs. So I figure anybody can afford a cup of coffee. So if anybody like me out of a job, €5 a month is I think something anybody could afford to help support somebody. And then I have some people that are giving more, but they're future clients. So I'm crediting people for future tours, offering discounts and things like that. Because we don't know when people can come back. So I'm having a couple of the big tours that I did. I was supposed to be going in, I think we're supposed to go in May. I had a group coming for Sicily, and we rebooked that for the end of October. So I have my fingers crossed that maybe, I think September, October should be okay.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I had another tour for a big group, which we just moved to May, because I think larger groups, I think people maybe would be more hesitant to travel. So for me, large is like 12 people. My tours are usually really small. So the group coming in October are 5 best friends. So they know each other. And I just don't know what it's like being on an airplane now, or trains, or traveling, or who knows. They just came out yesterday and said gloves do you no good.
And every week somebody tells you something different, so who knows?
You're gonna die in the heat. This won't live in the heat. It's like we don't know anything, I just think just to be smart and to be kind and to respect I mean, even if it was just the flu, a real flu. But, and I don't know if they've really done the numbers yet of how many people died in Italy versus the regular flu, but I'm sure it's more.
I know in some towns the death rates for villages are 3 to 4 times the average for the same time of year. So
yeah. So obviously it's doing something, and it's just to be respectful. So, since I'm not working, we're not driving all over the place and running all over the place because we can.
no,
We did go down to Florence and went out to lunch in Florence and just stopped by and, showed my face. People haven't seen me since November. I wasn't feeling well January and February. I had, was at home, and a lot of people are closed or down then anyway. So I was going to start going out again in March working. So they haven't seen me since November probably.
yeah.
So I just went down and, said hi to friends and see what they were doing, what they're doing, how they're working. I used to work with that famous butcher Dario in Chianti. So we went to his place and met Christina from Siena. And we had a hamburger, and that was good. That was fun.
Nice.
But, he had like over 100 people working for him.
Oh, wow.
So, I think maybe 70 kids, because in the butcher shop, it's his property. It's been in his family for years, but he's built it up to be more restaurants. So, they were all, full-time employees. So I think, even just there, he paid, I think maybe a month, and then they go on unemployment, right?
Yeah.
So they were getting money. But a lot of people here don't have full-time jobs. A lot of people are hired for seasons. So a lot of people don't have any money. So it'll be interesting to see now that people are opening, who's going to be able to support these restaurants, the hotels. I mean, just so much is built on tourism here. And then the people that supply the linens and the food and the wine. And, it's a huge vicious circle of everybody being out of work because there's no access. There's no tourism.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the informal workers that just turn up to unload trucks and get a few euros here and there.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that
I was just reading today that in Florence, the Ponte Vecchio, where all the gold shops are on the bridge, that's still all closed. And today in the newspaper, there was an article where one of the older families there, so really one of the family gold makers, that they're not going to reopen, they're going to move. Their rent is 18,000 euro a month.
I was going to say it must be horrific, but
18,000 a month. So, a lot of these people, you wonder, are their landlords going to give them a break? Or sure, governments were offering loans too, but you still have to pay back a loan.
Yeah, exactly.
So the people that I have seen are the smaller family businesses that maybe they own their buildings. And they could keep going because also it's mostly the husband, the wife, the sons, the daughters were the workers. They kept working. They did food to go or something. And a couple of places in Florence too used to be just open for lunch, and now they're open for dinner and for Sundays, which they had never done in 60 or 100 years that they've been open. So,
and doing
little by little, people have been adapting, which is interesting. And the other thing I found, the good things were now we could just call in to a doctor and get our prescriptions renewed over the phone.
Yeah,
That's saving that will change our lives in the future. And the whole thing about food deliveries, that was nice. My farm that I buy from was bringing me vegetables once a week.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then I ordered from a nearby village. They had the government often sponsors tourism to help promote smaller villages or towns. So they had given this village money, and they had their website and maps, and meet your local artisans and cooking classes and go to a cheese tasting. And in this village where nobody ever went, I thought, wow, that's really good, So all of a sudden, there's that program up and running, and then this year, nothing. And what they did, they got together and they said, okay, what can you provide? What can you provide? And did boxes. And they drove with a certain, mileage. They drove them and we picked them up from someone who brought them to us. And so that was kind of fun. We got, olive oil and wine and some grains and some fresh pasta. So I found a new flour mill near me, a new wheat grower. That was great. So,
and is that organic?
Yeah, all organic farms near me. I mean, most people here are organic, even if they don't state it, because you pay extra for that label saying that you're organic.
Yeah.
And from my village, we couldn't go to even outside our village. So the olive oil mill where I usually get my olive oil from is in the next town over. So I couldn't go there. But luckily I have my next door neighbor also has olive oil. But from the olive oil mill, when you bring your olives in, they charge you by weight, and you use the machines. And you take it home and you probably bottle it yourself. But instead of paying for that, they can just leave oil as payment. So the cooperative then takes all that oil and bottles it and sells it. And the organic one is €1 more a liter because they pay they pay more to have the sticker, but it's the same oil. So a lot of people here won't pay for the organic certification.
Yeah.
Because it's just another tax for them, more paperwork. And so, paperwork in Italy, we don't want to do. So they're just making it. Taking day trips and going and meeting these people, these sorts of farmers, the artisans, and you'll see what they really do when you talk to them, because that's the beauty of Italy, I think, is the people.
Definitely. And I think too is that, I mean, if anybody that's watching hasn't been to Italy before, it's quite particular. Like, Italians are communicators. I mean, if you don't speak Italian, somehow you'll have a conversation, won't you? I mean, whereas if you go to France, you've got to try and speak French before they'll reciprocate.
Yeah. And there's a lot of Latin root words in English, so that kind of helps people too, I think, And I often tease my Italians that don't speak English. I'm like, how do you say zucchini in English? I don't know. Zucchini. How do you say beef? So there's just make people laugh. But I do think it's fun when you do come and travel. I always recommend to people to bring a picture of your house, bring a picture of your dog, bring postcards from the city that you're from, maybe bring as little gifts, like little keychains, because, if you're going to go stay at someone's agriturismo or their farm thing, it's always nice to bring little things from your town. It could be a pot holder, a T-shirt, but little trinket. So then also the people are like, oh yeah, we just have these people, and they're from New Zealand or they're from Paris, and look what they brought me. So they get very proud that they have friends from all over the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
The other thing that I do, just to keep bugging you or whatever, is I love photography. And so my husband is Italian, and he always yells at me because it's not considered polite to take pictures of people without asking. Yeah. And so a lot of people not speaking Italian say, well, I can't speak the language, so I don't know how to say anything, and I just snuck this picture. But if you actually engage with them first, chit chat about something or show them some pictures or whatever, and ask if you can take the picture. I discovered now an app called Touch Note, and it turns the photograph into a postcard and it mails it.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So if I can take a picture of somebody, show it to them. So they're actually going to pose. They're going to pose for me.
Yeah.
And then show it to them. And then I stand there and I get their address and we punch in right there, and you have to prepay on the app. So I put like, $20 in or something.
Yeah.
I can make that photograph the stamp on the postcard.
Wow.
You could choose the image.
Yeah.
And then I tell them my name, put my name there that it's for me. And then I put their address and I push the button while I'm talking to them, while I'm online, because, I have service. If not, you could do it later, but you could show them that it's all set up. And then the postcard arrives, and oh my God, it totally blows them away that they got a photograph of themselves as a postcard that some crazy, American or somebody sent them. It's just like, it's really great.
Yeah.
So that's good for them for show and tell. You got to have a laugh. They got to have a laugh. You got a great photo. So, yeah.
Exactly. Oh, cool. And what are you doing with your app? You have the Test Chianti?
I give it away. I wrote an app for Chianti. So I've been out here now for, since 2000, about 20. Oh, God, that's so long, isn't it? Oh, just thinking about the other day. Oh, it's really kind of sad to get old, but I've been in Italy longer than well, I came when I was 30 and I'm 66 now. Yeah. So I've been 36 years in Italy. That's a lifetime. I mean, really. So I think we finished our house.
American.
Huh?
For sure. You're more Italian than American.
And yeah, I'm just a big confusion. Because the thing that helped me was working with like Americans all the time. So I speak American all the time.
Yeah.
For work. My husband doesn't speak English. So my Italian is pretty fluent. I've taken some classes, but not a lot, but my Italian's pretty fluent. I read, I write, I watch TV, I do movies, I can read the paper, I can listen to the radio, I could talk to people in Italian. Sometimes I get a little brain thing where I can't remember a word, but that happens in English too now. But so a few years back, there was a company that was doing apps. And so I kind of contacted myself to them, and I did the app for Chianti, and they were selling it online for like $3 or $4, like that. And then they decided they didn't want to do it anymore. Oh. And so they were going to like erase it offline or whatever. And so we got all the information back that we had fed into it. And I found a new company where I could give them all that information, and that would be the base. So I used another company, and I did the app, and I just decided I would just give it away because I hate paperwork. Yeah. And it, in the long run, it's if you're going to make like $1 an app or $2 an app or something like that, who knows? You could hit gold and make $1 million, but usually it's not going to be that much money. And when the taxes are so high here, it's like the sales tax is, I think, up to 22% now on sales tax, and then personal taxes are about the same. So you're going to lose 45% of what you're making. Yeah. And so in the long run, I thought giving something for free is just better PR. It's a win-win. So instead of paying for advertising, I have the app.
And what do people find when they Sorry?
Pardon me?
What get from your app?
So it's I wrote the app it's called Taste Chianti, and it's from between Florence and Siena, and the byline is kind of eat, drink, shop, and sleep. So it's like where I would go. It's wineries and farms and butcher, baker, ceramic maker, print makers, hotels, restaurants, wine bars, truck stops. And it's nice because you could just pick a town and say, I'm going to go here. And then there's a Google Maps connection. So it helps you get to a place,
Mhm.
which is not always. But just suggestions for planning your trip. Like if I'm going to be going to Panzano, I could pull up Panzano and then click on eat. I'm looking for lunch. Click on the eat part,
Mhm.
and it will put in order of like what's the closest to you or something like that. There's a lot. It's I think I actually probably put too much information on there.
Yeah. People can't choose.
Well, it's really hard because in the long run, and what I did too is that, I can also do like tour planning. So when I'm pivoting, I do
Yeah.
tour planning. People ask me, they don't want to hire me to like do a day tour or do a week with me. Often the wives want to do a cooking class for one day, but they want to come and stay in the area.
Yeah.
So based on my app too, I can say, okay, we'll go through the app. These are the places I think you should go. You can star them, put those off of those. That will just come up as your preferred choices. So that limits it. And then also based on where I know then where they're going to be, I can advise other places to go. Because at a certain point, I can't just keep adding things, but I have so much more information.
Yeah.
And new things open all the time, or chefs change. So I kind of use it as a tool for my clients. Also, they get it for free.
Yeah.
It's like when I did my cooking classes, I would just give away my cookbook to my clients because it was easier than printing out recipes. So
Yeah.
just find ways to make life easy.
Fantastic. And I see there's one question. The Touch Note app, is that just easy enough to find?
Yeah, I think let me just look right now. If you go to, I have Android, so if I just go to my Google Play, and I think that's just what you need. This Touch Note.
Yeah.
I'll just see if it comes right up with choices. Yeah, it comes right up. It has the O and Touch is a little blue heart on their logo.
Oh, cute.
Right? Can I see? I don't know if you can see that. No, I can't.
That's why they're white.
That's just white. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's going to be really easy to find. But I do this too. Like even if you wanted to, send postcards home to your family, I remember when I was on tour someplace once, there was somebody with a laptop computer, maybe in the piazza in Rome, and they would take a photo of you on email on the laptop, and then you would give them their address, and they would send it to you via email. For like €5, you could send it to 2 email addresses or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so Touchstone, I'm just looking. You could do the postcards. They have greeting cards. They can also print pictures, canvases, framed photos, birthday cards. And so you could do cards that open. But I just usually use the postcards is all I've ever done. Yeah. So yeah. And they have both Android and iOS. So that's good.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's been really good having a chat. So
Nice hearing your voice. We've known each other so long just by, tapping away on the computer. Yeah.
Exactly. We've seen our words, but not our voices. Well, I've heard yours, of course.
Well, that's true because I talk a lot because I'm always doing something live.
Exactly.
It's just people love it. Sometimes I'll just be somewhere and someone would probably like to see this. So, just push a button and just put it there. And that's, I think, what's so nice about Facebook is you can save these images to these, they stay online for a while when you're not doing those, whatever that other thing is called, stories, whatever. When you just do lives, the lives you can keep, and that's nice.
Okay, fantastic.
Well, thank you.
So thank you, and hopefully, if the system works, I'll be able to. This will be up as a permanent video for people to see on Facebook, and hopefully, I'll be starting a YouTube so I can
Yeah, that's what I did. Is I saved all my cooking classes. I saved them all and put them on YouTube. Also,
Yeah,
you never know where people are going to do something, right?
No, I mean, because you get different groups of people that use different resources from they have preferences. So yeah, I think it's great. So yes, I will so thank you again. And I think I've got Ralph there waiting for me. So
Okay.
see you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
It was fun listening to the two of you, to your friend. And hang on, I want to call Francesca because we want to say happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
I'm over. Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to launch yourself on your birthday. So
well, I thought that was my I've only got water right now, but I'll have some champagne later.
Well, we have champagne water. Prosecco.
Grazie mille.
So
Grazie a te. Ok. Ciao Ingrid.
Ciao, speriamo. Dopo. No, so thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
So tell us where you're from and about your residence program. Well, first of all, how did you find Italy?
Well, Italy found me, so
like
an accident. Well, maybe not, because there's a pattern in my life in terms of I'm an immigrant, and I'm running away from my ex-wives. So I emigrated from Germany to England, running away from my French ex-wife, and I then eventually ran away from from the UK. And raised my daughter in Cornwall. It's a beautiful part. You must like it as New Zealand surfing, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I eventually landed in Rome as a base to set myself up. I was still in corporate life at the time, and Rome was great in terms of great hub, traveling to different parts of the world. I was based in a departure lounge at the time.
Okay.
And eventually, when I turned 50, I had my sort of crisis, kind of, I'm past my sell-by date. And so then my daughter...
myself at 50.
Well, I'm a mathematician, so I can count my age in hexadecimal. So in hexadecimal, 50 is 32. Anyway, so my daughter she encouraged me and she said, Dad, you don't know how to date. I'm going to teach you how to date. So eventually I set myself up dating. I thought, now I know how to do this. I'm going, I'm dating, And so Francesca was my first date. And we never looked back.
Fantastic.
So we were together for over five years, creating new possibilities. And yeah, so that's how I ended up in Italy.
Wonderful. And you're based in Spoleto, I believe.
Yes, yeah. So Francesca is from Rome. So we met in Frascati. I was in Frascati at the time. I had my own bachelor pad villa. And Francesca was in Rome. And then we had both breakdowns. So I'm a heart attack survivor. Francesca is a cancer survivor. So we found ourselves in a very bad situation. So then we thought, okay, well, so moving forward, maybe there's an opportunity now for us to create something together. At the time, I was on an exit strategy, 5 million, sort of exit strategy, following my sort of health adventure. my shareholders decided to vote me out, which is, it's the beauty when you're a co-founder of a company and you don't have majority shares, and the shareholders can turn against you. So, but it turned into a real blessing.
Yeah.
It's you find yourself in a situation where you have an opportunity to create new opportunities coming from nothing.
Yes.
And this is what I like about what your dream of my life. When you talk about the untraveled path. We tend to get too good at what we're doing, and then we stick at what we're doing because we're just getting too good at it, and we don't venture out. We're staying in our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And what really happens when, I'm sure when you push yourself outside your comfort zone, right? You find yourself stranded in Austria now, and it's during the lockdown, and that must have been quite an experience for you. So just, creating new possibilities, and not being attached to the outcome, because I truly believe now in manifestation, because when Francesca and I said, okay, let's try something. And I said, I'm going to open a bar in Frascati. I want to become a barista, and I like the community in Frascati. And everything, when I wanted to do things, Francesca keeps telling me, she calls me Rafa. She says, Rafa, this is not how we do it in Italy. In Italy, this is forbidden. You can't do it like this. It's forbidden. You have to do it like this. So it's all, it's great, when you have dreams and you have someone who gives you a bit of a reality check. Mm-hmm. And so then I said, okay, Francesca, so let's, what do you think we should be doing? And then Francesca came up with the idea of, we'll, consolidate our savings and sort of some funds, and we will buy, something, and, with land, but, we need to be in a community, but we still want to have land, and it needs to be, very old, nice, old, traditional building. I said, Francesca, this is like impossible. You either live in the countryside or you live in Rome. You can't live in the countryside and be part of a community at the same time. But it turns out that where we are now, outside Acquaiura, we are in a small borgo, which is like a small settlement. It's like, a hamlet, but you can't say hamlet because we have a church, a 1400th century church in the hamlet, but it's a very small community settlement or hamlet. And so we do have a community. We do have land. We have a 17th century Casale. So by setting the intention of, this is the kind of things we would like to do, and not being attached to the outcome, because we were looking at different places. But it turns out that Spoleto and Acquaiura has found us. And because I've never heard of Spoleto, and it's an old city. It's predating Rome. It's UNESCO listed, and it's a wonderful arts community because of the festival. There's the Festival of Spoleto, and so this is how we ended up here. We opened up. So my idea then at the time was to start a retreat business. And I kind of started off again corporate, so I gave myself the job title of Chief Hospitality Officer. and I said to Francesca, I know how to do this. We can pilot the retreats here in Spoleto, and then we will roll them out into Cyprus, because I had an umbrella company in Cyprus. We roll them out into Malta, and we tap into the multi-billion business of retreats. We do mindfulness, etc. And so
got stuck, or I have. Are you there? Is everybody else having the same experience, or? Ralph? We'll give it a minute. We've lost him. We'll give it a few minutes or seconds. Otherwise, I know I've got Giselle and Mark waiting in the wings. So let's have a look. We can go back to Ralph afterwards. So, are you two ready?
Yeah, we were just thinking wine. We need some wine.
Mine's coming in the fridge.
There we go. No, nice bit of Montefalco Rosso. Yeah,
Yes.
Montefalco Rosso. Nice.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my dear.
Very much.
Well,
Now Ralph has come back, so
Is he around?
we can add 3 of them. Hang on.
Too late.
See you in a bit.
Too late. We started.
We have. Hang on. We can do that.
Hi, Ralph.
We can have a party. Cheers. I have to do my water, but there'll be
Life's a
wine
party.
afterwards.
Wine.
I've got some cheap champagne in the fridge.
Sounds like a good way to celebrate your birthday.
Yes.
Okay, carry on with Ralph,
Carry
and
on.
we'll see you in about
We'll see-
quarter of an hour.
See you in a little while.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, we're back. Oh, I don't have your. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, I'm back here.
I think it's down now.
Yeah, we have the storm, so the internet cuts in and out. So
Okay.
if we cut out again, then please just move on. Just
No problem. I think Judy had the storm earlier, so hers left. So you had your big globalization plan, and what have you decided you're wanting to do now, or that you are doing?
Well, so I think I got cut off saying that I went back into the trap of, chasing the money, building up a $1 billion business, and then I realized, no, stop. And so I let go of my ego.
Whoops. The technology works, but the weather gets us. Actually, it's quite strange here. It's all completely misty outside. It's all sort of spooky and I don't know, like a bad movie. It's all misty. The mountains disappeared. Everything's disappeared. So I think maybe we'll get Ralph to come. Oh, hang on. Let's have a look. You're back. Hang on. You're muted.
Okay.
Ah, there we go.
Technology is wonderful, yeah.
Except when it is.
Yeah, so eventually, what I said is what I like about your offering is that, there's many people like myself coming to Italy and where we believe, yes, Dolce Vita is great, and we can start, like in our case now, a bed and breakfast. And but as you know, there's so much paperwork, so much bureaucracy, and you really have to follow it to get it right. Otherwise, eventually you will just be shut down. And so this is what we eventually did, because, for example, even when you start a retreat business, the business activity needs to be well defined. You can do it maybe through an agriturismo, but there's no such business activity in terms of the EVA number to run a retreat business. And so my vision of multi-billion-dollar business kind of collapsed straight away. And so then we started a bed and breakfast, and I wasn't too keen on it because I traveled all my life, and I wanted to get away from the whole traveling thing. But it turns out we had wonderful people coming, travelers. When you travel, you collect experiences. It's like so I got inspired by our guests to go back traveling, because they all had great stories around traveling.
Oh, cool.
And then from that, a friend of mine, Melissa, she's a professor of writing, helped me to start looking into writing retreats. And then Melissa referred to it as residencies. And it was a new concept to me, because I said to Melissa, I don't really want to do the retreat business for reasons I've discussed. And then residency came about, in terms of creating an environment for emerging and established artists and writers to come here and to pursue the art, writing. And so we had a residency with. So what we set up is a fellowship.
Oh, no, so we've had a few comments. Sonia, nice to see you. And Judy. And Judy says she's getting the storm now as well, so it looks like it's just a stormy kind of a day. Apparently I was born on I was actually born on a wintry day, so that's perfect. Now, I think we have lost Ralph. I'll just send him a message and say we'll pick him up. You're back. You're muted. You're back. You're good.
Yes, but I think the storm is getting the better of us.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, if we lose you again, maybe you can come back later, and maybe the storm will have finished. So. So I think if our other guests are ready, we will swap over and pick up Ralph's story in a little bit. Hopefully the storm doesn't go for too long now. Let's head over to our other guests. We're back.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
The wine is excellent.
Very good.
Really
I'm
excellent.
sure.
I'm just saying, I mean, Ralph's not that far away from us down
See,
south.
I know, I was thinking that you might be next.
Far away. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, exactly. Well, maybe once it hits you, it's left him, and then we'll go back.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it's heading this way, but
There you are.
well, we'll see. We'll see. We don't usually lose it, but you never know.
No.
Let's go.
So thanks for coming on, and at short notice, because I don't know, this COVID thing's been just a bit of a nightmare. So
I know.
A little bit.
I know.
I've had 100 days here on my own, so it's been kind of interesting. And I'd sort of decided about, I think it was almost 2 months ago, that I was going to relaunch with this idea of connecting with people like yourselves, and also perhaps connecting you with a wider audience too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought I'd be here for 6 weeks. So, but it's such a weird, it's a completely unnatural situation to be in. I mean, last week,
For our generation, I think.
yeah,
I'm old, and I've never had anything like it before.
yeah,
Seriously, nothing like it at all.
No, this is amazing. I mean, it's extraordinary. Doesn't really cover it.
no,
It's unique.
unbelievable, maybe.
I mean, you think, okay, well, we'll try and get through this year, and then we'll see how we go next year. And you're thinking, I said that last year, and I said that the year before. What is life going to throw at us next? For all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is. For anybody that doesn't know, we run 1-day wine tours
Mhm.
for small groups of tourists. So usually 2 or 3 winery visits and a full lunch. And there's just basically myself and our van, Giselle and our computer. You can't really get a much smaller business than that, but it is amazing how we can be affected by world events. I mean, we took a huge knock when the Arab Spring kicked off. Was it 8 years ago, 9 years ago?
Mhm.
It was just like the
They turn a tap off.
inquiries. It was like turning a tap off. We went from 2 or 3 a day in January to nothing overnight. 4 years ago, the earthquakes took a huge knock there, and now
You know that one.
now this, and we're just wondering when the Sharknadoes are going to come.
Well, Godzilla, I think somebody else.
Yeah.
Alien invasion.
Really, thank God we've got a ton of wine in the house, and eventually, after maybe 5 or 6 weeks of lockdown, and some of the local winemakers had the idea of delivering to the door. So that was like,
And our favourite restaurant up in Montefalco also delivers, and well, a few of them do now, but they were the first ones, and we were like, yes, please.
Yeah.
And
something
fantastic.
different, something that's
Well, something that I didn't have to cook. That was lovely, as you may know. But I mean, one of the things, because we were lucky enough to be able to go on holiday just before all of this kicked off. It was actually kicking off when we were away, when we managed to get home. So we've been in quarantine since the second or third. We got home on the 2nd of March, and
so we
basically went into quarantine on our own.
A week before Italy said everybody else has to do it.
But to be fair, it hasn't really been that bad for us because we're together. We where we live. Yeah. We have wine and a dog and the garden
And the
the views,
and a ton of work.
so and it coincided with getting the garden all sorted and ready to plant out and everything. So that gave us a lot to do.
A lot to do.
And we've got the 2 dogs. I mean, we've got the new dog Freckles, and we've got DJ to keep us occupied. And then I discovered that I quite like baking. So, like, you know,
she makes it and I eat it.
well, I do too, to be
Yeah.
fair. And I just, things like I discovered that I could make bagels, which frighten the rubbish out of me. Well, crap out of me. Okay. But, they just, they always looked like there was something very, very weird about, boiling dough. No, that's just wrong. It's just going to fall apart. But no, and they're really good. And it was just something I was like, if I can take anything away from this, is like I can make bagels now.
Secondary business on its way.
Well, someone did say, "Do I deliver?" But no, I don't. So you can come
where you are.
It's been 10 years this year.
10 years in this house.
In this house, but we moved over here permanently in 2007.
Yeah.
After going backwards and forwards between the UK and Italy since 2001.
Yeah.
2001.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a blast. I mean, we're so happy to actually be here at this house because. We only rent. We haven't bought it.
Well, you've been here.
Well, you've been here. No,
the views, the light, surroundings, the lack of neighbours, the lack of traffic noise.
Really close to the wineries.
Basically, all contract to our lives is birdsong and tractors.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Chin chin.
Charlotte has said that you're a bagel goddess. Is she a friend of yours?
She sent me a sad face today to say that the bagels had finished today.
Finish the bagels.
But Pat says that she has to learn how to make them.
Well, there's another side business. You can teach people how to make bagels. Bagel classes.
I could. But yeah, I mean, I've had, that's what my life has been right now is cooking and gardening.
Weeding, yeah.
Cooking and gardening. But we've also just kind of not relaunched, but we have been sending wine out. We've been sending a wine list out for wine shipping to continental Europe, to the UK, to the States. It takes its time to get there, but it will get there.
Yeah.
And it's proven very popular.
It's proven very popular indeed. We've sent lots and lots of wine.
Because obviously people aren't earning, but they're not really spending either. Most people, we're not spending much money.
No, we
not
don't
like normal.
You know.
So rather, if they haven't been able to come to Italy, they can at least get a taste of Italy delivered to their door. So we've been doing quite a lot of that, which is nice.
It's been great. It also means that we reconnect with the wineries because Mark is going to the wineries to pick up the wines for these orders, and he gets to talk to them and find out what they've been up to and
see their dogs.
And to it's been a few months because we haven't really. Well, we don't work really in the winter. It's seasonal.
No. At the end of October, we stop work.
We haven't
haven't
done
worked
anything.
in over 7 months.
Yeah.
Keep our contacts with all our friends in the wineries and everything. So this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Until we can restart the tours. But when that will be, I don't know, because it's not. Umbria is pretty safe. It's one of the lowest cases of COVID in Italy.
Yeah, I think it's second to last after Le Marche.
Yeah. And, I mean, like in Montefalco, we've had one case. That was it.
Yeah.
No other.
Yeah.
and they knew about it and it was contained, and I mean, everything's fine. So we
shot him.
Yeah, he isn't around anymore.
Now we have no case.
but it's not so much us. I mean, we can say yes, you can come to Umbria, it's fine, it's lovely, but it's the people that are actually traveling that's the problem. Because people are behind Italy, they can't travel yet.
No.
If they aren't, I think traveling on a plane
is
in
not
an enclosed
a good idea.
steel tube with a couple of hundred other people. I think it's certainly quite a scary idea for me at the moment.
We don't want to do
and
it.
we live in a place where there's almost no virus at all. For someone who, 85% of our guests are Americans. And I can't see them wanting to leave the country this year. I mean, they traditionally don't leave the country anyway in a year when there's a general election. So we weren't looking forward to the best year anyway this year, but...
and then there was Brexit.
And then there was Brexit, which means we'd only had one inquiry before all this virus stuff kicked off. We'd only had one inquiry from the UK, and that was the guest been before. So we were looking at a pretty crappy year anyway. And then the COVID came along and stamped on all our hopes and dreams. So,
but we're still smiling. We have wine.
and speaking about wine, Ralph is asking what wine you're drinking at the moment.
Oh.
It's a Montefalco Rosso from the Cantina Terra dei Nappi. It's a very, very small winery just outside the walls of the little town of Bevagna.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
This is from 2015.
It's really, really nice.
It's a DOC, so all Montefalco Rossos are fairly similar. About 2/3 of it is Sangiovese, 15% of the local very special grape called Sagrantino, about 10% Merlot and 10% Cabernet Sauvignon. A year in the wood, a few years in the bottle, and it's very, very good. Paired beautifully with meats. Another bottle is the best thing to go with.
Or another bottle, yes.
And maybe a friend or two,
Yeah, it's always good with a friend.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I suppose. I'll have to say that, otherwise you might get the wrong idea.
Or a wife if you have to.
But yeah, it's we've been trying to get that sorted, and we've been trying to think of ways to
run a tour
without
and keep everybody
thing, and that is the most difficult thing because if you run it through your head, you come across. It's a bit like trying to drive a route and come across all the different problems that you could possibly come across. It's almost impossible to come up with a perfect plan because you have so many obstacles in the way, mostly out of our control. Like if you go to a winery, how well are they keeping that winery?
A lot of the wine makers are real contadini, country folk. Some of them don't even believe there is a virus. So they might come up to you and kiss you on both cheeks.
Yeah, or give you a nice big hug.
That's a big problem.
Yeah, and cleanliness is rustic sometimes. So I don't know whether we have to go around the places that we're going to go to that day and just make sure that everybody's on the same page.
We would have to, yeah. We would have to micromanage every visit, basically.
Yeah, basically that's it. And that's kind of a scary thing to start getting
Thinking
together.
about. Yeah.
And apart from anything else, we don't have the inquiries yet, so we can't even. Well, we should be thinking about it now, but it doesn't feel that urgent because we don't have like an imminent tour or anything like that.
The thing is, it's like justice. It's got to be seen to be done as well as be done.
Yeah, exactly.
We have to not only make our guests safe, they have to feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
If they feel safe, they're not going to enjoy the day.
No.
Only enjoy the day if they can relax and feel completely safe.
Well, Ralph says he'll definitely send people your way once things start happening.
Thank you, Ralph. I don't know if you remember, Ralph, but we did actually speak a couple of years ago. And I tried to call him a couple of times, and I think he must have changed his phone number. I just couldn't get hold of him at all.
It might have been. Yeah. I mean, I said to Mark, I said, "Oh, we've got Ralph coming on," and so I recognise that name.
Ralph says he for the artist residencies he needs wine on tap.
Sounds like a plan.
Some of the places make
barrels.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the places they do their what they call the bag in box, which is basically their IGT wine put in a box. Basic wine.
A little bit better than a table wine,
but really, really good. I mean, there seems to be some kind of
stigma about it.
Yeah, stigma thing against it. But it's that that was the 80s.
That
now
was 25, 30
really,
years ago.
really
and now
good.
What some of the local people are doing is putting their basic entry-level red and white wines into bag-in-box form. They're not making cheaper wine. They're not making nasty wine. These people don't know how to make a nasty wine.
No.
It's tremendous.
The guy down the road where we went to, the Raina, he's doing bag-in-box.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, where I am, we have just down the hill, we have Casale de Madonna, and they do some great wines, and they do bag and box too, and for quaffing.
It's the same as screw caps. The price point of wines available in screw cap bottles is rising every year, and the quality as well.
I think the thing is, I think ultimately it keeps the wine better, isn't it? The screw tops, and
yes,
it's becoming more acceptable.
Wine here, all the wineries we visit on our tours are organic. Some of them are biodynamic. And what am I going to say? Yeah, some of them we've done tastings with some Saguantinos that are basically the most tannic grape in the world. They've been open for 2 weeks, and they've just stuck the cork back in the bottle at the end of the day, and they're in perfect condition. It's quite incredible. I come across that 10 years ago, and I didn't know anything about making wine at all. I they must have put some formaldehyde in there or something.
There was something in it
to keep it good, but no, there's absolutely nothing added whatsoever.
It's lovely.
But they are incredible, and they get better. Some wines are at their best between 5 and 8 days after the bottle's been opened.
Yeah.
We've experimented with that too.
Yeah. Well, we drink the cheaper stuff meanwhile.
What is it? Do you just sort of go around your garden and leave it somewhere and then think, oh, I forgot about this.
Oh,
damn, I'll have to have another little drink of it.
We don't leave anything in the garden now. We've got this new dog.
Oh, this new dog. I mean, she's hilarious.
Gets everywhere. She's unbelievable.
She's looking like butter would melt in her mouth right now. She's asleep on the chair, on one of the chairs that they can have. We're sitting in the only bit that the dogs aren't allowed on in the house. But everywhere else is fair game for them. They can just go anywhere. So we've got little DJ is on a double sofa,
a 2-seat,
and Freckles is lying there on an IKEA chair. So yes, it's you. Yes, I'm like, what? Bless her. But yeah, with the Gusto stuff, we're hoping to think of different ways of doing the day. We're just starting to think about it because we don't think that this thing of the virtual tours would work for us. I mean, maybe one or two things. Maybe we could go to one of the wineries and talk to the winemaker and stream that or something. But that's not an income. That's not an income, and it doesn't really do an awful lot. We can't do a wine tasting just off the cuff. We could send wine to people and then we can drink the same wines. That's an option. But at the moment, wines aren't getting through to America quickly.
There's so few flights
schedule it
across the Atlantic. They're taking, and then because there are far fewer flights, there's a far higher chance of your container with the wines in being stopped in customs for 2 or 3 weeks.
So it will take quite some time for the wine to get there. Then they've got to wait for another.
Maybe not if they've been in customs for 3 weeks.
Well, we tell people to wait for a couple of weeks to reduce the bottle shock and to bring the wines back up to quality again. And we could see if we could do this in the UK, because the UK one's taken about a week to get over. They don't need that long to settle again. So that's one of the things we're thinking of. The other one that I just said to Mark today was maybe we could meet people at the winery, and so we don't have the transport. We don't have the transport problem, because that's a big problem with not being able to take that many people, even in our 9-seater, because we have to have this distancing thing going on. We could I think we could have a maximum of like maybe 4 people.
4 or 5. Well, maybe. It depends.
It depends on who they are.
Like a lot of other people who offer a similar service to us, not quite the same, but similar. We've for the rest of the year, we have basically got to offer just private tours. You book a day with us, 2 people, 4 people, 6 people, whatever, then that day is yours.
And they have to be from the same.
Social distancing in a car with 2 different groups would be impossible. 2 different groups and me. So basically, all tours this year are private tours.
So they have to be
exclusive
from the same household.
Yes.
People that have, are allowed to be together. Because otherwise we can't do it. I mean, there's been so many times that we've had a van full of people and it's been 2. We can't do that this year. It's impossible. So private tours, or maybe, sort of like a drive yourself tour, and we'll meet them, we'll do it in convoy and we'll go to the wineries and they do it separately. It's not ideal, but, if they've got the car, then they can go. I mean, we've always said don't drive, but you're just going to have one that doesn't drink, basically.
Which will be a bit of a killjoy if there's only 2 of them.
Yes, that's true.
You need to get in touch with the swanky hotels that can organize a car and
yeah. I mean, there is all that. There's that as well.
Well, we do know some private drivers, but they cost the same as 2 tours.
No,
for the day.
She's saying because the hotels have their own cars, so they could have that car to take them.
Or you could do the drivers, but I mean, prices. I mean, if you raise your raise your rates and do more bespoke tours for like couples, expensive hotels, people on honeymoon.
We do offer a very bespoke VIP tour. And we do it maybe 2 or 3 times a year. People simply they don't seem to be keen to spend that kind of money in Umbria because they've never heard of it.
Even though it's an amazing experience, I have to say.
It's
that would work, because we could probably do that, because most of the time, because it's such a bespoke tour, then the people are generally together anyway. You wouldn't tend to have those 2 people there, those 2 people there. They wouldn't do it.
No, we need a minimum of 4 people for this tour.
What you need to do is you need to market people that can jump in a helicopter and come down and do a tour. People that are really into wine.
Yeah. Well, that's
But
There's
they-
people with money.
if we were in Tuscany,
Yeah,
then
that
we
would
could
be
do
normal. But like I say, they don't think there's anything worth hiring a helicopter for to come to Umbria.
so that's what we need to work on is Umbria.
And we're not getting any help from Umbria.
No.
Well, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it's a fabulous place, and I think that, to be completely honest, I think that a lot of the people that have moved here, you know, like the people that are not from Italy, from anywhere else in the world, when they move to whichever region it would be, they're like, I adore this region. I love this region. They crawl all over it. They find out the history of it. They go to all the little towns. They know more about it than they do their hometown or their home
They know
county.
more about it than we do.
They know loads and loads about it, and they tell all their friends about it. People that live here have lived here all their life. It's their place. They know it. It's not ordinary, but it's not somewhere that they go, you really want to come here, because they know that you should come here.
Yeah.
And there's a way of advertising it.
It's
if you
their
like.
backyard.
They don't think that
They grow up
should
looking at it.
advertise it, because why should they, when they know how wonderful it is?
Yeah.
They don't think that anyone else would ever think anything different. So it's up to like the people like us and like Susan in Perugia, who does tours there. She does walking tours there. They're fabulous.
Yeah.
And you know, and all the little places that have got all these lovely little businesses. We do a lot to promote Umbria.
Yeah.
It goes
And
kind of unnoticed,
our
but
guests spend a fortune here.
yeah, we're not with us.
Umbria's incredible, and that they tell everyone to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
just
do.
one of the shipping consignments we sent out last week was worth 1,400 euros.
Yeah.
Just one of them.
Yeah.
You know?
So the money is out there.
Yes, definitely.
You know, it's just a case of attracting people to Umbria. It's not even a case of attracting people to Gusto wine tours.
No.
It's we need to get them to Umbria first. Then we can say, right, well, now you're here.
Yeah.
Let's go do something. Let's go on a wine tour.
A decent percentage of our guests come and spend 2 or 3 days in Umbria, and they tell me, I'm not trying to boast or anything, they tell me mainly to do the tour.
Yeah.
They go and spend the rest of their holiday in Tuscany. It's almost like they're scared. They feel safe and at home in Tuscany because everybody's been there and it's safe and they've heard about it. They've read books. They've seen movies. How can anything go wrong?
And it's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
You know,
I mean, so is the rest of Italy. I'm not saying
no, but it's famous. I mean, it's almost famous for being famous. It's cool. I mean, you know, you go to Florence, or you know, you go to all these beautiful places, and the scenery is fantastic. You know, it always looks like some kind of postcard there, and it's a bit wild, a little bit more rustic, and you know, it's not as polished as
far fewer people speak English as well.
The more well-known regions. It's a little bit, you know, farmer-like.
Well, it's just one big farm, really.
But
and
the food is amazing.
That
and
means
the wine
everybody's
is
a
amazing.
farmer.
Yeah, but the food and the wine and
the
people,
generosity of spirit.
And, you know, we just really genuinely love being here because we can choose to be here. That's the big thing. We choose to be in Umbria. We can choose to be elsewhere if we wanted to. We could choose to be in another country if we wanted to, but we choose to be here. And that's what I mean. We would only be here if we really loved it. I mean, life is too short to be somewhere that you don't want to be if you've got a choice.
Which is why we're here in the first place. We wanted to escape. We didn't want to spend our lives in Britain, in the grey.
Mostly grey.
Mostly grey, yes.
I felt like it wasn't so much. No, it really wasn't so much that. It was more. We didn't have careers. You know, we didn't have all of that kind of. We'd work towards something, and we were going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. We didn't have children, and we just thought, well, yeah, me too. And we thought, why would we want to do something that is like a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, in a rut kind of thing? You know, go down with your mates on a Friday night to have a couple of drinks.
I missed that bit.
You know, it was like, you know, you take your cakes in for everybody's birthday, and you know, it was just like bullshit. I really didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. I wanted to see a little bit more of the world, and to do something a little different. And I think that luckily we had the same kind of idea, which most of the time anyway. But yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know whether you read it, but I mean, it was like a light bulb moment on our honeymoon. We just sort of said, we saw this Sunseeker boat go past and thought, we don't want just 2 weeks holiday a year. We want to live our holiday all the time, you know. So I mean, people think that we live in Italy, so therefore we must be on holiday all the time. Well, if that was
this year, they're right.
Yeah, exactly. They got it right. We're on holiday.
Yeah, but without the money thing. That's the only difference, really.
Yeah, but I mean, we're at home and we don't need to spend a huge amount of money. So, you know.
But we do. We don't need to, no.
And we haven't.
No, really. We haven't. No.
You know, I mean,
we've been very
wine waters.
Yeah, well,
there is
delivery.
That's not very expensive here.
No.
One of the main upsides to being far less famous than Tuscany is that everything costs half or less. You know, so the wine I'm drinking gorgeous oak-aged 5-year-old blends that cost €8 a bottle. Crazy.
The thing is, though, I mean, there is a mentality out there that, you know, if something's cheap or like comparatively cheap to somewhere else, like Tuscany,
or California,
they're like, what's wrong with it? There's got to be something wrong.
Exactly.
People probably need to double their prices overnight, and then people will go, wow, Umbria,
yeah.
Can I tell you a little story?
This is a funny story.
About 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I took a group of 6 young, fairly wealthy Americans to a very, very tiny winery. And we started off with a white, and then we had an IGT red, very simple blend, only 2 or 3 years old, no oak. And I said, this is a very good blend, $3.50 a bottle. And then we went on to the €10 Montefalco Rosso, and then the €20 Sagrantino, and then the €25 Sagrantino Passito, the incredible dessert wine. At the end of the tasting, as I always do, I said, is there anything here you'd like to buy? And they had a little, yes, we'll take 3 bottles of the first red, the IGT, the one at $3.50. I said, fantastic, let's go up to the farmhouse and they'll put your wines in a box and you can pay them. So we walked up, so I walk in there and I say, they're going to take 3 bottles of the IGT red, please. And while I'm saying this, I can hear this funny noise behind me, like shh, 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 shh. And it goes on, and I'm thinking, what are they doing? I turn around and they're counting out over €1,000 in €50 notes. And they thought I meant $350 a bottle. And they were buying 3 bottles. I said, oh, well, immediately I thought, well, we'll split it, you know, half to the winery, half to me. But then I thought, no, that's not right. So I said, no, I'm sorry, my mistake. I didn't make it clear. Although why you'd serve a €350 bottle of wine before a €10 bottle of wine, I don't.
And the most expensive bottle of wine was 25. You know?
Yeah. I said, I'm sorry, it's €3.50 a bottle. And they got all embarrassed and got €10.50 out. But they still only took 3 bottles. Now, I don't know about you, but if I found a bottle of wine that I honestly thought was worth over €300, and I found out it's 1% of that price, I'd have bought every bloody bottle they had and ordered everything from the next 5 years as well.
Well, I thought you were going to tell me they bought the winery.
No.
That's been asked as well. I did
have the only Russian couple we had on the tour. They said, how much is this? And I said, well, that bottle's €20. No, she said. How much is the winery? I thought, I've got to put my price up for Russians. But anyway, you know, they were just embarrassed that they obviously thought they'd been wrong. Their taste buds had fooled them because they'd loved the wine.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was no good. If it's only €3.50, it couldn't be any good. And we get this a lot.
It's a real shame because the wines. I mean, there are some places that we go to when we first start and we find out how much the wines are and everything, and there's the quality of the wine to how much they're charging. We're like, you have to put your prices up. No one's going to buy them at that price.
Well, they laugh when I tell the guests how much the wine costs. They laugh all the way through the tasting. They're laughing because I don't know if you know, but the reason. Well, the way we got the idea to do this for a living, I mean, we didn't come over here thinking we're going to do wine tours. We came over to try and make a living with me teaching English. But eventually I started teaching a lot of winemakers English so that they could talk about their wines in English.
Oh, I didn't realize that was
how I learned about the local wines. And that's why I'm confident talking about these wines, because the winemakers told me everything I know, basically. But then we went 11 years ago. 11 years ago, we went to California for my nephew's wedding. God bless him. And while we were there, we did a wine tour in Napa Valley. And we basically, we've based the structure of the tour, winery visit, lunch, winery visit, on that tour there. The only thing is that the experience at the wineries there and here is completely different.
Yeah.
The first thing you do in Napa is pay. You don't pay for the tastings here.
No.
You get tiny amount of wine there. You get half a glass here. Half that.
Not even that much per tasting. And you
maybe that much. You get, and that's $5 worth.
That's $5.
Yeah.
You can buy a nice bottle of wine here for $5.
I mean, I don't know what it's like in Australia and New Zealand for the wine tour experience, because that's something I'd love to do. Go over there and have it. But this was not the best. But we knew that we could do better. We knew that we could do something that was amazing.
But it was also a bit like a production line. There were coaches in the car park. You got some youth coming along and pouring it. They had a little, like a dealer on the bottle. So you got a measured amount. And he'd say, this is our premium Merlot. It's very good with barbecued meat. And he's off. You never met the maker. You never saw anything about the workings. It was just a series of tastings. Now, our tours, luckily, have developed into a bit more than that. We have a visit to the vineyard. I show you around the winery, explain how the wines are made, because the flagship wine here is made like no other wine that I know. It's made in a very different way.
Yeah.
So, and then we have a full lunch. I mean, we paid quite a lot of money for our tour in California, and we got a couple of rolls and some fruit salad and a bag of crisps or a yogurt or something.
And we bought our own bottle of wine.
And you had to pay for your own wine with lunch, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very different. It's very much a eno-gastronomic tour. It's really developed, really changed. I think someone who came out on the tour with us 10 years ago, if they come out again today,
they wouldn't recognize it.
Wouldn't recognize it.
They really wouldn't.
Except for lunch. We've always had a 4-course lunch at like a farmhouse agriturismo, and it's always been wonderful with all the wine and water. You can have coffee.
We don't go
everything.
into any of the towns or anything because that's not what we do. You know, because some people ask, you know, can we have a bit of a cultural tour as well? Like, no, we'll find you someone who will do that for you, but we can't do. We can't go and do that.
We're not qualified as tour guides, so we can't do that sort of thing anyway.
But we can do what we do.
We can do what we do.
Do you do the vendemmia with tours? Or?
No.
We don't do it, but they have a go.
There we go. Yeah.
They have a go. I get there with my camera because they'll cut a few bunches off. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll have a go at that.
Yeah.
And things like, you know, the wine festivals and things is we do get inquiries for that. I mean, this year they're not going to be happening, but we do get inquiries for people that want to go and do that, and we just don't, because our tours are basically private tours, even if they're all group. You know, the group is normally no more than 8 people. So even if we have like a full bus, 8 people is nothing. And a lot of times we go to the wineries and the 8 people there, that's it, or 2 people. You know, they're the only people there.
We don't go to the big famous ones, so it's very rare. I mean, most of the year we are the only visitors at that winery that week.
And at that time as well.
And at that time, it's only in, say, September, October.
Yeah.
So at the time when there are a lot of real wine fans coming to the wine production area. Well, Italy's a wine production area. That's when we might hit some other tourists. But otherwise, we've got the wineries to ourselves, and we've got the roads to ourselves.
And the winemakers.
And the winemakers come and sit with us.
And they're really cute. Sorry.
Yeah.
And they have gorgeous wives.
Yes, they are. Yes. But we've got some real...
There's a few women in the industry as well, though, isn't there? Mark, to be fair. There's a few women that are in the wine.
Woman.
No, there are 2 wineries that I know in Umbria that are run by women. There may be 3. There may be one over Orvieto way, but I'm not sure.
Well, 4. There's Lungarotti.
Yes.
Goretti, Bartoloni, and that Emilia Cocco.
Oh, is
so
that
there's
woman?
at least
I didn't know
4. At least 4 that we know of, but that's not very many out of.
No.
Well, there's 200. I think there's about 200 wineries in Umbria, which is not very many.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the first 2, they're too far away and quite big, so we wouldn't go there anyway.
I mean, Lungarotti is the biggest winery in Umbria.
I don't know where that 4th one is. Is it around here?
Ilaria Cocco, see, she makes Saguantino, yeah.
All right.
Well,
we're going to have to go and see her anyway.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no, we're going to have to do some research.
Seems like there's some secrets. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great day. I mean, we've been doing this for 10 years now. This is our 10th year. We were supposed to be all celebrating this year, but you know, we'll do 11 years instead next year.
Okay.
And you know, we do, because not only has it developed, you know, sort of, it's now more, you know, gastronomic. You know, the first place that we go to is laden with food, because you know, trying to drink these hefty wines on an empty stomach is not a great idea.
At 10:30 in the morning. So the first winery of the day always has loads of affettati, sort of salumi, prosciutto, salami, capocollo, cheeses, bruschetta, because nearly all the winemakers make amazing olive oil as well.
Yeah.
It's a terrible life, you know, Ingrid. It's really
it's terrible. And
do you feel for us?
And to go back to something that Ralph said, we have also made some amazing friends from people who, people who've come on the tour. Good wine. Some of the very first people who came on the tour, 2 people from San Diego in California, we're still friends with them on Facebook.
Yeah.
And we're hoping they'll come over again at some stage.
Fantastic.
They were supposed to be coming over this year because it would be their
10th anniversary or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
15th, I think it was, or whatever it was, maybe 10th. But yeah, I mean, it was all planned. I mean, there were so many things that were actually going to be planned for this year, but they're not going to be happening. So we'll just put it on hold and we'll do it again next year. It'll be fine.
Exactly. So if people want to get in touch with you guys, you've got the website, the Facebook.
The website is gustowinetours.com. Easy. You can contact us on Facebook, which is the Gusto Umbrian Wine Tours on Facebook. We're on Twitter.
My phone number's on the website.
Yes, the phone number is all over the place.
Call me. Speak English fairly well.
Yeah, not bad. You can email me, which is info@gustowinetours.com. And we're on Instagram as well. So, there are several ways to get in touch with us.
Yeah.
And they usually, if you just put in Gusto Wine Tours on Google, you'll find like a whole big list. I think we're on that Google Place or whatever it's called now, on the side. I don't know what they call it. Google something or other.
Don't know.
Anyway, we're on that as well. So, yes, anyone can get in touch with us at any time. I try to get in touch with people after they've got in touch with me within the day. So if someone's got an inquiry,
she's always on the computer. She'll answer in 2 minutes.
That's in brackets. Yes, I answer very quickly. So if anyone wants to get in touch with us,
unless she's drunk,
and an unfit mother. But yeah. We think that, or we don't know for sure, but if all goes well, then maybe things will get a little easier September, October time. And that's actually a fantastic time to come to Umbria for the wine, for the vendemmia.
Definitely. And the new wine,
all coming through as well. It's a wonderful time to come.
And it's not 40 degrees every day in September, October.
Great weather.
Actually, I don't know why people want to go on holiday then.
All the kids are back in school, hopefully. It's not peak period, so hotels and flights and everything could be cheaper.
Yeah. So, great time to come.
Exactly.
You're coming over?
Thank you for coming and having a chat. I'll definitely share the links, and hopefully with these recordings I can actually maybe putting things to YouTube and all that as well. So
sounds like Judy knows what to do. So if you get stuck, maybe ask her how she put them on there, because I don't know how you do it.
There might even be a video about how to do it on YouTube.
There probably is. There's probably a dozen of them.
Okay, well, happy birthday again. Enjoy your
yes.
fizz.
Thanks for coming, and
cheers.
see you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, we're back.
Oops, we've got you on there. Hang on.
Oh,
I
hi.
need to undo you. Ciao. And we've got you back, Ralph, and we're good to go.
So I'm acknowledging you for it has, yes.
Good.
But we get our signal through the antenna. We don't have internet here. The signal actually, the internet is faster than when we are in Rome for some reason. But when we have a storm, it gets really temperamental.
Oh, okay.
So we're actually overlooking Montefalco. So in Acquaiuro, all our rooms, we have 5 guest rooms. They have a view onto Montefalco, and we can also see Assisi further in the back.
Lovely.
So it's not. So I'm acknowledging you for connecting, because I didn't realize that your friends, that they were reaching out to us 2 years ago. I have no recollection.
Oh well, now you've been reconnected.
Yes, and also we have we have a lot of international guests, and and a lot of them are on tour either from Florence to Rome or from Rome to Florence. And when they go from Rome to Florence, they always ask about what kind of experience.
Oops, it's gone again. That's all right, and we'll just wait. Maybe I'll uninvite you and then wait a minute and see when it redoes its little. Maybe Gusto won. Oh, yeah, he's definitely gone now. Maybe we can invite Gusto 1 till he's back. Yes? You. Oh no, he's back. Hang on. We're getting him.
Yeah, so the storm is not helping us. So I want to acknowledge you for setting this up, Ingrid. I think I really like your concept.
Thank you for coming on.
Because there's a lot of people I meet who seek Dolce Vita, and you and I know the hurdles.
Yeah.
To make it a good experience, and I think what is great in terms of your coaching is that you have walked the path.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches push people outside their comfort zone, saying, well, that's where the magic happens, within the comfort of the, sitting on the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think what you're doing, and I think today connecting Judy, your friends in Montefalco, it's great because we can send our guests to Montefalco.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a really great place. We're literally just overlooking it.
Yeah.
And also we have guests on tour to Florence, and they ask, tell us what we can do in Florence. And Judy is such fun. Yeah,
exactly. She also does market tours as well. So if they
and there's authenticity because Judy is married to an Italian, and that's tourists like the authenticity in terms of the connection with Italians.
Exactly.
I'm hiding behind Francesca because I'm just an immigrant refugee.
Behind you.
Huh?
Maybe she's hiding behind you.
Yeah, we hide behind each other. Yeah. Yeah. So and Abruzzo. So when you're back in Abruzzo, that's just a stone throw away.
Yes.
I always say that we are the poor cousin of Tuscany, and Abruzzo is the poor cousin of us, of Umbria. But when I travel to Abruzzo on the way to Bologna airport, I go to Abruzzo, right? It's stunning.
Yeah.
No, okay.
No, you won't.
Le Marche. Am I confusing it with wrong direction? Well, I do get. Well, all roads lead to somewhere.
Well, it's supposed to be Rome, but
yeah. But it's. I hear, because when we have guests, you see the guests who come to Umbria, people who travel to Umbria go off the track, and a lot of them then go to Castelluccio and then further to Abruzzo.
Yeah.
So and because they know we're surrounded by medieval villages, and Abruzzo is just stunning in terms of the countryside.
It is, and I think it's actually got the most castles in all of Italy for its region, but I might be wrong.
Sorry, say that
I
again.
think it's got the most castles.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. Okay.
But they're ruins, so
Okay.
not restored mansions or anything like that. It's very, very authentic.
It comes back to the authenticity, but whereas Tuscany, you have, all the expats go to Tuscany, they buy the villas, restore them, the celebrities.
Yeah.
And here in Umbria, we still have, and Abruzzo, same for Abruzzo, where still the authenticity.
No, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing you. Hopefully,
before you run away, the residents, the artist in residence programs that you do, often do you have a schedule for those, or?
Yeah, so what we do is we have a fellowship where we schedule a week, and so this is sponsored by an organization, small investors in big ideas. And what we're doing through that organization, we're sponsoring artist residencies. So we had a week in last autumn, and we had one scheduled in April, which we had to push out. So that's now scheduled for this coming autumn, fall. And but the fellowship is ongoing, so people can go onto the website under fellowship and they can apply for the residency.
Oh, fantastic!
And then everything is covered except for travel cost. Also help to identify grants, because governments have Ministry of Culture, and they have funds where artists get funded in terms of their traveling costs, and we then collect them from either Rome or the airport in Assisi, and then 1 week residency. But other than that, so we I think we sponsor up to 3 residencies a year.
Fantastic.
At this point in time, and then we have a period where artists come and go. So we don't have a fixed schedule. So what we have is we open a window for the residencies, and then we have a foundation where people who are part of the fellowship, they can come and go. And then we also offer residencies where we have then emerging artists or writers who have a writing block. They can then come here and enjoy the creative sort of space. And also what I think, what makes us a bit different is that we provide access to a writing faculty. This is working with Melissa, who is an associate professor of writing. So it provides sort of the faculty, because it's great to have some structure around writing process. And however, COVID situation with social distancing, it doesn't really work with the residencies.
No.
Because when artists come from all walks of life, I mean, for the current sponsorship, we have a journalist from Portugal, artist from Madrid. We have a writer from New York, and one from Ireland. So people travel from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And of course, I can't usually collect them at the airport, but like your friends, you're from the Gusto wine tour said, it's difficult to do the social distancing. Well, it's impossible, right? So this is why at this point in time, we only have travelers coming, because we have a new protocol in terms of social distancing. But we can't really follow through in terms of our residencies, which is a real shame, but it is what it is. But what we're doing is through a group on Facebook, which is a group in terms of Casale, Flaminia, residencies for writers and artists. We're really grateful because, for the community, because we have an online community keeping the magic going during this period of time until we can resume to do the face-to-face.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think it's really good for artists and writers working. We have sort of community cooking.
Exactly.
And it's all part of the experience of the residencies, rubbing shoulders with your fellow writers and artists. And but I don't think it'll happen before next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So, what are you doing for the rest of your birthday? Is it all party? Are you going out clubbing? No, social distancing. Yes.
I think the squirrels have got a party organised for me, but I'm not sure.
Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. Good. Okay.
But I've got a bottle of champagne in the fridge ready to go, and I've got some more online chats with friends.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So, remind me, are you still stranded in Austria or back in Abruzzo?
No, I'm still in Austria until Monday.
Okay.
Because Austria opened their borders to almost everyone except for Italy, I believe. But a lot of the countries only said, okay, we'll go in to see you, but no, hang on, you can't come and see us. So
it's complicated. I mean, my daughter lives in Cornwall, and it's like I think my sister went back to England, and just before they introduced the quarantine. Now, when you go back to England, so if I went to visit my daughter, I would need to go into quarantine, which I could do at her place, and then become a full-time babysitter for my grandson. Actually, that's an idea. Yeah, and give her. Yeah. So challenging times, but I would encourage you with your new offering. There's a real opportunity now for people to reinvent themselves, and I think you can really help them on their path.
Exactly.
Sort of rebooting society, where we, create new opportunities, and not going back to the old way of doing things. This is, and you've been wearing so many different hats in your life.
Yes.
And so I look forward staying in touch. And when you're back in Italy, come and visit us. Stay over. We'll work out the social distancing. And have a wonderful day today, and have a wonderful birthday. Lockdown birthday.
Thanks for coming along. It's been great chatting.
And thanks for having us for your launch.
You're welcome.
It was a privilege to be part of it. Okay, Ingrid. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao.
Oh well, that's Dream Life of Mine today. So I hope everybody enjoyed themselves, and we'll be doing this regularly from now on. So see you soon. Ciao.